in Wisbech. Well, let's discuss an extraordinary 24 hours with a couple of journalists and commentators. The columnist for the Mail on Sunday, Peter Hitchens, is with me alongside Anushka Asana, who is joint political editor of The Guardian. Welcome to both. Peter Hitchens, I've interviewed quite a few outers today who said, although of course they wanted to win, they thought they would win, they were still really, really shocked. You less shocked, it seems to me, from what I've been reading.
I've thought for several weeks that it would be an outvote, and as soon as I realised that the Labour vote, the old Labour working class vote, was swinging heavily for out, then I was sure the combination of them with the old guard of the Tories would win it, and that's what has happened.
And that's one of the key issues for you, the collapse for Labour.
Well, it's not a collapse on the part of Labour. It's a reappearance.
Their leader said, well, I think you should vote in, but a lot of them didn't.
But it's a reappearance of something which died, which is the old Conservative, patriotic part of the Labour Party, which has been suppressed and ignored by Blairite leadership for many years. And here it is. It found a way of actually expressing itself. In the normal general election, it was loyal to Labour. It either didn't vote for Labour or it certainly didn't vote Tory. But on this occasion, it's been able to come out and give a really serious kicking to people it doesn't like. I think it's very encouraging. I've always thought that there was a great possibility in this country for a coalition between that vote and the old-fashioned socially conservative Tories who've been similarly sidelined by their Blairite leadership. And now it's happened, so the Blairites are on the run, which has to be a good thing from anybody's point of view.
Anushka,
well, clearly something did happen for the Labour Party here. 210 plus of its MPs campaigning to stay in the EU, and lots of people in Labour heartlands clearly voting out. And I know I spent some time recently all around the country in Labour heartlands talking to people about immigration, and everywhere you went people were shouting for out. I have to say I wasn't so sure in the final few days that was the way the vote was going to go, because I was back here and there was a mood. Downing Street were quite confident. They thought they were going to win, and in the early hours of this morning, I'll tell you what, the advisors in Downing Street, the Labour advisors, they were close to tears. They are absolutely devastated by what we've seen here.
That's really good to know. It's really good to know that those people are in tears, those people who've been systematically ignoring their own voters and supporters for so long, and comical to see a political party, almost all of whose MPs disagree so profoundly on a very important issue with the voters who've kept them in office. And it's amazing that this thing has now been revealed, that we have two political parties now, both the Conservatives and the Labour Party, who disagree profoundly with more than half of the electorate on a 72% turnout. How come our major political parties are so completely out of touch with the people who actually keep them in office?
And so
if
it's that fundamental,
it is that fundamental.
What changes though now?
What ought to change is both those parties, which are in any case political corpses, propping each other up with each other's rigor mortis, collapse and are replaced, as they should have been long ago, by new parties which actually reflect the real divisions in the country.
Okay, but that's something that doesn't happen quickly.
No, that is what ought to happen as a result.
All right, let's talk first of all about the nearer future. Let's start with Labour. I mean, Jeremy Corbyn, we've got the vote of no, we've got the letter talking about no confidence. We've got John Speller, Stephen Kinnock added to that in the last hour. Will he go next week? Could it be that quick, Anusha?
Well, the recriminations are flying. We'll have this no confidence motion probably at the PLP meeting on Monday, or it might be next week if they need to give him longer. You would expect there to be a majority of MPs who want him gone. As we know, the membership of the Labour Party disagrees, and there's a real fight over who is really to blame. You know, some Labour sources saying to me tonight that Corbyn's aides were trying to sabotage the pro-EU campaign. Corbyn's aides saying, actually, no, we tried really hard and we were closer to what the public actually wanted. One thing we know is that Jeremy Corbyn does not want to go anywhere and that he will fight any attempt to depose him. It's not clear whether it's constitutionally acceptable for them to try to remove him. But it's not just about this referendum. There are people who have wanted Jeremy Corbyn gone for quite a while, MPs, and what they say or feel is that they can't win a general election with him as a leader, and they don't want to lose their own jobs. Clearly, he disagrees.
They can't win a general election without him as leader either. That's the problem. The Parliamentary Labour Party is incessantly trying to get rid of Jeremy Corbyn. It's what they spend their lives doing. They have almost no other form of activity. But this is just another pretext. Actually, Jeremy Corbyn is closer to the Labour voters on this than they are. In truth, he's been against the European Union for most of his political career, and he's much closer to the voters than they are. And if for them to get rid of him, why don't they all resign? They have just established beyond doubt that they don't speak for their own voters.
We don't have. Let's also talk about the Conservative Party, though.
Oh yes, let's.
Well,
I dislike them even more.
Well, and this is where it all began. David Cameron promised this referendum. Now that's lost him his job, or will do come October. Then what? These big beasts of the cabinet who were so split, what happens? Do they work together? What happens?
This is a dead party. It's just been proved beyond doubt that this party does not speak for its own voters.
But for now, it is still in government. It's got to keep going. What does it do in the next few months?
It's there by virtue of broadcasting rules which give it prominence it doesn't deserve, and money supplied to it by various dodgy billionaires.
Well,
it has no true popular support.
Let's be honest.
What we need now is a general election in which the two parties which have formed in a sort of ghostly fashion in the past few weeks, the Exit and the Remain parties, fight each other, because they much more truly represent the division in this country than the Tory and Labour parties, who are actually almost the same thing. They're both Blairites, so they agree with each other far more than they disagree with each other, and we now establish that both those parties disagree with the people.
Or the people want you to be Peter instead.
Maybe they will, that's up to them, but they certainly don't like the two main parties.
Unfortunately, we have to leave it there. Peter Hitchens, Anushka Asthana, thank you very much for now. Only for now. Plenty more to come.